Hi, welcome to Tray 5 Cribs. Come on in. It's just after 5 o'clock on this fine Monday afternoon. All the guys have gone home. And it was really noisy today, so we waited till now so we could do kind of another shop update for you. We've done a couple of these, but you guys always seem to enjoy them. So let's do another one. You just watched a video, hopefully you just watched a video on this square body. Worked on getting the bed off today. The bed's completely disassembled. We'll get the bed sides out to Kyle so Kyle could chop those down for us because this one's going to stay patina and he's kind of the king of the little razor sharp line. Hopefully tomorrow we'll get the cab off and then we'll get the cab onto the GSI chassis. So just saw the intro build for that, or the intro video for that build. There'll be another one here soon. We just got this one running today, but we're still waiting on the oil pressure sensor, so we just kind of made sure it ran. It has oil. I think these things are pre-ran from the factory too. This is a crate engine from Ford. So we just fired it up just to make sure we didn't have any huge leaks, anything like that, and then kind of killed it right afterwards. So this one's moving along. Hopefully we get that adapter from Dakota Digital to run their oil pressure sensor, and then we can finish up a really short list, kick this back over to iCandy to assemble, and finish getting it painted. Back here, we have Shannons 65 C10, I think it's 65. We just finished this one up. We actually just had it at the reunion show this weekend, a couple days ago. It's running, driving, tuned, aligned. It's going to go to Steve at Elevated Design a little bit later this week, probably Wednesday or so. We never really did a full build video on it, but everybody seems to love this truck. So we're gonna do a wrap-up video on this one as soon as it's done. So make sure you do all the YouTube stuff, subscribe, get the notifications, ding the bell, all that fun stuff. That way you'll know when we publish the completed video on this once the interior is done. It's kind of this side of the shop, the first bay. Cruise over to the second bay. All right, this is kind of like our second bay. This tends to be where stuff is a little bit more fabrication heavy, a little dirtier. But we have the square body chassis, which we showed you a little bit in episode 1 of the square body. Big old 2415s on the back. We've got the interior for my Suburban right next to you. So we're working on a headliner for that, and then the rest of the interior will go in. So that's a smaller project. But if you want to see a video on it, let me know. Maybe we'll do one. This is Shane's truck, which I think for like 2 weeks in a row, I've said one more day and we'll have this thing done. We just keep finding more and more stuff to do. We've got coolant reservoir tank for the supercharger, all the supercharger plumbing. Wow, we're gonna have to redo that. So if you're gonna put all this in the video, to my defense, normally a system like this with a heat exchanger up front and a deck here and this bottle normally would be on a supercharger. On a twin turbo or a single turbo truck, you'd have a big fat intercooler in the front. But this twin turbo setup uses a plate here plus a heat exchanger there. So basically, rather than doing an air-to-air intercooler, this is a water-to-air system. We've got a huge tank that we built over here. There's a pump right underneath it. It's all like number 10 lines. I think it is all number 10 lines. So it's all number 10 lines, so it's a ton of plumbing. Add to that, we've got vacuum for blow-off valves. We've got oil feeds, oil drains. We run coolant through these turbos. So we kind of have a little short list of stuff still to do on here. Since this has so much stuff on it, we're probably gonna rip a lot of this stuff out of under the hood and from underneath the truck before we send it over to Frank, just so we can start coating turbos, coating exhausts, doing whatever we're gonna do with the intake manifold, or not even the manifold, but the intake, the Holley intake, and all of our plumbing, all the aluminum stuff, figure out what we're gonna do. So we'll probably rip some of this apart tomorrow, and then we'll get it over to Frank. But as I've said for the last week, we're almost there. We got David's Impala back for some maintenance. Brian informs me we never did a wrap-up video on this. I don't know. Leave a comment in the comments section. Everybody always points down, but I watch mine on the TV, so I don't have a comment section below. But yeah, this was at SEMA 17, 18? You think 19? Really? Well, okay. David likes to listen to stereo really loud, with the compressors on, with the AC on, and with the car at idle. So 4 bad things for charging your batteries, but doing everything we can to kind of get the charging as good as possible. So trunk's kind of taken apart, under hood's a little bit taken apart, but we'll get it back on the road tomorrow. And then over here in the old shop, we have quite a few projects over here. First one obviously is Brian's crew cab Dooley. This one has the first Porterbuilt chassis that he's done for one of these trucks. Obviously we're running some 22-inch Dooley wheels. We're running a 12-valve Cummins to get an A1000 converted to 6-speed Allison transmission and a really, really big compound turbo setup that we're gonna have a hard time fitting under the hood. All-American billets in the middle of making us a pulley setup, so we've got some mock-up brackets on there, but we'll do a proper build sequence, series, whatever you wanna call it, on this. So again, the shop videos turn out to be like an advertisement for our YouTube channel, but if you want to see more, subscribe. And if you don't subscribe, you'll just see me talking about it on Instagram, and then maybe you'll go there and look, and you'll come back and watch the videos. 56 Ford F100, it's kind of been a staple for a little bit here. Customers from out of state. We had a bunch of issues with the Ford wiring. Go figure, it's Ford. Ford guys, I didn't say that. But we actually had this over at Speed Sports working on the tune, and he had to send the computer back 2 or 3 times because it didn't have a good file in it. And then, so the transmission wasn't doing anything. Then when he got the computer back and the transmission was working, we thought it was all good. And then the next day, the computer went bad again. So either way, it's strange noises outside. Either way, it's been gone for a little bit. Just got back here, supposedly all good to go. I think we're gonna order some new wheels for it and get rid of the crazy stagger. But this is another Gen 3 Coyote, 10-speed. It came to us already lowered. We did the brakes, we did all new exhaust with the engine, we rewired the whole truck. The interior, we actually had Frank paint the dash on it. We shaved it, cleaned it up, Frank painted it. It's got a set of TMI seats in it, which we have bagged up right now, but we did all the vibro stuff on the floor. And these door things are actually buttons for door poppers. Enough with the Fords. No, we have, this Bronco belongs to the same people as the first Bronco we looked at. Frank over at Eye Candy did all the paint on this. He also did a lot of custom touches to this thing, like the quarter panels welded up. And then they contoured the body line with metal so that it matches the body line in the fender and the door, which is a big thing if you're a Bronco guy. Because normally the rear quarters are 2 pieces, and so they hit kind of like a pinch weld would hit instead of a nice smooth stamped transition. But another Gen 3 Coyote, 10-speed Atlas transfer case. This thing is running and driving. It's gonna go over to Speed Sports, who just gave us that one back, to dial in the tune, get the thing driving down the road good. We just got the seats back from upholstery and the dash pad, but basically this thing's got the cool amp steps. But this thing's kind of ready to go get tuned and then go finish up the interior, and then this one's out of here. Unless you've been living under a rock somewhere, you've seen the infamous, what is this thing? A Golf and Country by Western Golf Cart that Pio and Olin and Kevin have put together around here, and started out as kind of just a funny thing to do to bring the LST. Last year we had, or 2 years ago, we had the crazy electric wheelchair thing, and they decided to one-up themselves. So this one was at LST. It's got a 3-cylinder John Deere diesel in it. It's got AccuAir. It's got an oil cooler with an electric fan on it, and a bi-air compressor, and a 5-gallon tank, and air shocks on all 4 corners. They did a bunch of custom machining. The axles narrowed, but the machining was to get the engine, transmission, clutch, all that stuff to work together. We'll do a full video on this thing just because how many people have been interested in it, and I'll probably let Pio do most of the talking about this because it's kind of his little baby. I'm such a nice boss, I let the guys bring in their nonsense to work on. So this is Olin's rat rod body. If he ever does anything with it, I'll have him show you that. Last but not least, if you look up on the 4-post, like now, let's turn the camera and look. There you go. This is John Vaughn's 63 C10. You can tell because it's hard to tell from here, but it has the wraparound windshield. Chassis was all done by High Test. This is a GSI chassis. It was supposed to be an in and out kind of cool project, but a lot of the work that was done to the body by I don't know who, I think a couple different shops, wasn't too hot, so we sandblasted it and had it EDP primer powder coated. And basically all we've done since then is gotten the body mounted up, got the heart fab tubs installed, got the radiator installed. We've got some All-American billet pulleys, or some All-American billet reservoirs up there to mount. And I believe that's the shifter and the transcooler on the roof up there. So we'll get that down here soon. We're really excited about a lot of these projects that we've got going. In addition to the ones you saw today, we have the 55 of David's over at Frank's, 57s of Derek's over there. We've got another Bronco over there, and we've got Wendell's OBS over there. So look for a lot of videos here in the future. We're gonna try and stay on top of it. I know we always say that, but it's Brian's fault behind the camera. But, you know, do all the normal YouTube stuff like we've already said. We'll catch you on the next video.